We will be deriving the quadratic formula um, that we all know as x equals to minus b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. We're going to be deriving this, and we're going to be using the general form of all quadratic equation to do this. So we have the general form. Let me write it. The general form for quadratic equation to be ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a cannot be 0, and a b c a b and c are real numbers. They are real numbers. Now let's get started. From the general form, we pick again ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So we're going to be using let me write it here, using completing the square method. So this is the method we'll be using. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So, and first, before starting this, we need to make the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So how do we do that? So we need to divide throughout or multiply throughout. So to divide throughout, we're going to divide throughout by a, and to multiply, we're going to multiply throughout by 1 over a. So we have ax squared over a over a over a over a. So we've just multiplied throughout by a. Divided throughout by a. So a cancel a, we have x squared plus b over ax plus c over a equals to 0. Now the next step is we take the value of the constant to the other side. Now, based on the previous video on perfect square quadratic equation, I explained that we the value of k mostly determine if the value will give a perfect square. So we are going to look at how we are going to restructure this equation, without neglecting the principle of algebra, the principle of mathematics. So we are going to look at how we can bring in, we can make this equation a perfect square and still maintain the principle, the rules of mathematics. So first of all, we need to introduce to the left hand side, this side, we need to introduce a perfect square to it. but there is a value already here, and the constant is c over a. So we need to take away c over a from the side to the other side so that we can put in the value that makes this equation here a perfect square. So let's take this to the other side. So we have x squared plus b over ax equals to c over a going to the other side will become minus c over a. Now we now have the side free of a constant. So now we're going to introduce a constant to it. So how do we add a value that will make this a perfect square? Remember, we were able to derive a formula like k equals to m over 2 all square in the previous video. So where m is always the value at the second term, the coefficient of the second term, and k is always the constant that needs to be here to make this a perfect square. So it means, let me write here. Okay, let me just adjust the screen, the board rather. We should have something like x squared plus mx plus m over 2 all squared. That is, for us to have a perfect square, it has to look like this. The value here should be divided by 2 here and squared to make it a perfect square. And that is what we are going to do to this particular problem here. So we have x squared plus b over ax plus, now let's look at it. We need to divide this value by 2 and also square it. Let's see how it will look. Let's adjust the board again. We have b over a and we want to divide it by 2. Then afterward we square it. So we are going to have something like b over a times, this is the law of reciprocation, 1 over 2. Then we have b to multiply b, which is b over a times 2 is 2a. So dividing b over a by 2, we got b over 2a. Then we need to square, that will be b over 2a all squared. So that means this is what we're going to add to the other side of our equation. So we have plus open bracket b over 2a all squared. Let's pick the eraser to erase some things. Let's erase this as well. Okay, so equals to, we still have the right hand side. Remember, this is an equation. An equation, has a rule, and the rule is always anything that affects this side should affect this side. Now we are going to realize that plus b over 2a all raised to power 2 was not part of this equation before. We added it, and because we added it, we need to put it at the other side as well. So we can't just leave it, and we introduced it to it. It was not part of the equation. We introduced it to it. So for it to be balanced, whatever we introduce to the left hand side, we need to also introduce it to the right hand side. So we are going to have this to be plus open bracket b over 2a as well at the side or square. Let me erase this again. Now we have a very sweet result. Now we're not going to leave this like this. The left hand side still needs some adjustment, and the final adjustment is that we compress it into you know the perfect square form. That is, it should have a square. It should be a binomial expression raised to power 2. So we need to compress it into x plus, remember we did a the other time. What the value of a will be here, that is whatever we have here, we need to divide it by 2. Just divide it by 2. Then that is the value that will be here. So we have this to be b over 2a all square. So these are just, the simple steps that you can apply at any time. Once you understand the previous video on perfect square quadratic equations. So this is what we compress this whole thing to. So if you expand this bracket, you're going to get this. So let's continue. We have minus c over a plus. Now we need to open this bracket. So we need to simplify the right hand side. So we have b square over 4a square. So this square affects everything, b, 2, and a. And let's scroll up. Okay. Now we have x plus b over 2a square equals 2. Now this is negative, this is positive. We can rearrange it to b square over 4a square minus c over a. X plus b over 2a square equals 2. What's the LCM of this denominator? We have 4a square. Now 4a square is 1. 1 times b square is b square. We have a minus, we drop it. A in 4a square. Therefore, this a will cancel out. We are left with 4a. 4a times c is 4ac. Now, remember, we're looking for x. We want to make x a subject of formula. So x needs to be uncovered. X needs to stand alone at the left hand side. So now we are going to remove the square first by square rooting both sides. So let's square root both sides. We have the square root of x plus b over 2a square equals to the square root of b square minus 4ac over 4a square. Now, on bringing square root to this side, you need to put plus or minus. And the essence of this plus or minus is that when square rooting, when squaring a number, square root is the opposite of squaring. And anytime you're squaring a number, if you have -2 or +2, it doesn't matter. It's going to give a positive result. So now we are now square rooting. So it should come with either a plus or a minus. We don't care what it was before. So the previous form might be a negative or a positive. So we have square to cancel out square roots. So we are x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus. Then we know we cannot square root this hand. So it will have its own, square root. But the denominator we can square it because it's not having positive or a negative. It's not a binomial. It's not a trinomial. It's not a polynomial. So, and of course, with 4 here, we have a square here. So the square root of 4 is 2. Square root of a square is a. So now we have x. Now we can let it alone. X equals 2. Then we take plus b over 2a to the other side. So we have minus b over 2a plus or minus square b square minus 4ac over 2a. So lastly, this should be the last step. X equals to, what's the LCM of this? 2, we have 2a, 2 into a is 1, 1 times this, we have minus b. So we drop our plus and minus. 2a into a is 1, 1 times all of this numerator. We have square root b squared minus 4ac. So which is the formula, the quadratic formula for solving a quadratic equation. Thank you. Do subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.